I'm Andrea Giles, and you're listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, episode number 194, What It Means to Be All In on the Relationship. Hello, and welcome to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, where courageous women learn not only to heal from their spouse's betrayal, but to become the boldest, truest, most decisive, and confident versions of themselves ever. If you know there's more for you than the life you're currently living, but don't quite know how to get there, you are in the right place. Stick around to learn how to create a life that will knock your own socks off. Is it possible? It is, and I'm here to show you how. I'm your host, Andrea Giles. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Heal from Infidelity. I am going to be talking about what it means to be all in a relationship today. A couple weeks ago, I dropped an episode about what it means to be all in with ourselves. And this one is going to be taking it up a notch to what it means to be all in a relationship. We're going to go into great depth with that today. Before I do, I would like to make sure you know about my brand new Heal on the Go channel. If you want more audio drops, if you want more day-to-day shifts in how you're thinking, in what you're doing, in what is slowing you down, what to do to keep you moving, go get in there. It's only $97 a month. I drop at least a couple audios a week, trainings, things that you can take to the bank right away and use. And it's so easy to use. Just press a button and play. Easy peasy. Go get in there. It's in the show notes below. I know that you'll love it. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. What does it mean to be all in? To me, it means commitment with your eyes wide open. Right? You are wide awake. You are paying attention. What it does not mean is that you are not desperate. You are not coming at it from a place of codependence or needing it to go a certain way for you to be okay. It is about integrity. It's about mutual agreements. And it's about brave emotional maturity. And it's also about not losing yourself in the process. All right, number one, being all in does not mean having no deal breakers. A few years ago, I had a conversation with somebody who was in a pretty high authority place in the faith community that I have been involved in. And I had a conversation with him about deal breakers and about what it means to be all in. And I said something very bold to him. I said, I do not think that any relationship, whether it be with a person, with a organization, with a religious organization, anything that we have any kind of relationship with should be above any kind of deal breaker. And he disagreed with me extensively, but I stand by it. Why? Because sometimes things happen in the relationships we're in, whether it be with our partners, whether it be with spouses, whether it be with family, whether it be with various organizations, whether it be with our church, anything that can rub us wrong in a way that feels unaligned with our integrity, that can feel unaligned with our values, that can feel unaligned with the kind of life that we want to live. Sometimes there may be things that at one point we could get on board with. And sometimes we get more information and realize this is not quite what I agreed to earlier. This is not quite what I said I was all in on. This is different. The game has been changed. I say this because it's really important to know what your deal breakers are. Why? Your commitment means I'm willing to do hard things. I am willing to do hard things to repair. I am willing to do hard things for my own, that I'm willing to have my own accountability for, but I'm also clear on what I won't be tolerating. Okay? Here's a quote that I want to share with you. It says, boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously. It's by Prentice Hemphill. Boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously. So this means knowing what our boundaries are, where we can extend love, where we can extend love to somebody else, but also where we can extend love to ourselves. If we are just extending love and understanding and no real accountability to somebody else, we are likely not loving ourselves well. It's one-sided. A relationship in which we really want to be all in on, it has to be values and integrity led. If it's not, it's going to come up short and you're going to know it inside your body. It will feel yucky. It will feel not good. Now, a common sentiment that I get from people is, how can I possibly want to go all in with somebody who was unfaithful? And for a lot of people, there's shame around that. There's embarrassment around that. And I want you to know you're not alone. And the answer to this is what I'm talking about today. It's going to be around learning how to hold the infidelity as one part of the relationship, possibly a very, very important part of the relationship that woke both of you up, that made you see some things that maybe you would not have seen otherwise, that woke you up, and that the choice to go all in means that either you are going all in to see what this relationship is capable of, to see what your partner is willing to do, what they're capable of, or that both of you have already decided and that you are giving it everything you've got together, okay? You can be all in on the relationship without knowing if your spouse is on board yet. Did you know that? We'll get more into that, okay? But first and foremost, do you know what your non-negotiables are? Do you know your own bottom line? Have you said them out loud or just hope they be honored? Number 2, rules of engagement. You've got to have some kind of container that protects both of you. This means when things get hard, how do you engage? Are there shared agreements? This means no, for example, no yelling or name calling. No threats of leaving in a fight, like, maybe we need to talk about divorce again. We're not throwing that out on the table when you're in the middle of a fight. Another option is committing to circling back after space is taken. It can mean a code word that you say when things feel really intense that you both agree on that you're going to pause. It might mean a way of engaging with each other that you've never done before. And for many of you, it's going to be you that's leading this out. It's going to be you that is changing your pattern so you can see if they're willing to change yours. But there's a commitment. What going all in means is that there's a commitment on your part that you are going to change a way that you're doing something. Okay, so for example, for those of you who have been betrayed, okay, there may be a way that you are engaging that is very shame-inducing in your partner. It could be a way of engaging such as, you always do this or this. You never tell the truth. How could you do this? I thought you were a good person. I thought that you loved me. She must be better than I am. You know, things like that, that we've all thought them, okay? There's nothing wrong here in thinking them. But knowing, being aware that when you fire them out, they're shame-inducing. It's not connecting. Those are not connecting words. Those are me against you type words. They're not connecting. And understanding the words that you say, the phrases, what emotional place they're coming from, and the effect that they're having on the relationship, and holding yourself accountable to a more adult way of speaking, less reactive, less emotional, more intentional. Okay? Now you're going to find out, like I said, when you start engaging in these ways, your partner might really push back and be like, I wonder if I can get her to engage the same way. They could even provoke and they could try to draw you in. This is where it gets really hard. And part of your being all in is you recommitting to the same thing that you already said. Like, I'm not going back. I'm going to keep showing up in this way. Okay. Now, the next one is really, really, really important. The next one is truth telling as an act of love. I tell the truth to my spouse, even if it's really hard. If my spouse asks if they can go play basketball on a Thursday night with a bunch of buddies, and I say yes, part of my commitment is that I actually mean it. I actually mean yes, and that I'm not going to hold it over their head and punish them later. If I say yes, I mean it, and they can trust that. They can trust that they're not going to come home and have a grumpy, angry, resentful wife at home, and vice versa. If I say that I'm okay talking about something and I really don't want to right now, I'm holding myself accountable to saying, I really would like to talk about this, but right now is not a great time. Is it okay if we circle back to it? Okay. Where we are not leaving the other person guessing if there's actually something else that we think or feel that we're not saying, and that they're going to be punished for, teased for, treated badly for on the back end. Okay. This is really, really important. So again, part of you being all in includes you leading out with these values and inviting them into shared agreements. Now, I want to say something here. It can be really easy to go, why do I have to do all this work? Like, they're the one that ruptured the relationship. They're the one that did this and that. And I want you to know that it doesn't really matter, because you growing your ability to do these things comes with you no matter where you go. It's really growing your own emotional maturity, your own emotional capacity. And that is a skill that translates across every part of your life. So there's nothing lost here. What you're doing is you're saying, I'm going to give this everything I've got in the best way that I know how. And then I'm going to find out. And you may already be with somebody who already is doing their own work. And if so, that's great. For those of you who betrayed, another important piece here is you making the choice not to drop down in shame, that you're not going to go there, that you learn some practices to not go to shame, instead to hold yourself in love and kindness and have ways of speaking to yourself that keep you engaged in the conversation. It can be a way of thinking to yourself, oh, I'm terrible. Gosh, I'm just a loser. I've done such horrible things too. I made some mistakes that I'm not proud of, but I'm showing up now. And this is how I can show up now. This is how I can show up for my spouse now. And for many of you, for everyone involved, there were relationship patterns that were there long before the infidelity that both were participating in. Ways of punishing, ways of avoiding, ways of being passive aggressive, ways of being resentful, ways of saying one thing and meaning another. Okay. This being all in means I can see where I have made things a little more difficult, and I want to give all I got to correcting my part of things in service of myself, in service of the relationship. And I'm willing to do that. And I'm committed to doing that. And then knowing and paying attention to what your deal breakers are if those things happen. And also knowing when your efforts are maybe not being met in the way that you had hoped, but growing your capacity to not be hung up on the outcome. Knowing that no matter what, it's serving you well. And trusting that if there's a time that you need to walk away, you'll know it. Okay? Please keep in mind that truth telling is an absolute act of love. It's an act of love. It means I tell the truth to you, even when it's uncomfortable, even when I don't know how you'll respond. It is not a weapon. We don't use it as a weapon. We use it as a bridge to closeness. We use it as a way to show respect for ourselves and respect for our partner. Okay? All right, next. This is a big piece. Part of being all in is growing your capacity to sit in discomfort and unknown. You will get triggered. You will get activated. You will want to run, shut down, lash out, collapse, hurry to try to fix it. Whatever your normal pattern is, you will want to do that. It will be difficult. It'll be difficult not to drop into despair. It'll be difficult not to drop into however you blame yourself for things, or how you make yourself wrong, or how you make them wrong. It'll be hard not to. Okay? All in doesn't mean you never get dysregulated. What it does mean is that you know when you are, and you take ownership for your response. That's what all in means. We are not going for perfection. We're going for correction. We're going for repair, first with ourselves and then with our partner. It also means practicing taking space when we need it and coming back when we're grounded. Our capacity to sit in discomfort will catapult our relationships. It'll catapult our relationship with ourselves and with our life. When we can learn to not to hurry and try to get to a different feeling than the one we're in, and just feel what we're in and breathe into it, we're going to grow so much capacity to stand in our truth, to hear the truth without shutting down, to have hard discussions without bailing. It's really, really important. All right, next, showing up in your highest integrity. Being all in means you bring your best self to the table, not your perfect self, but your best and most responsible self. You are responsible. You recognize that even though my spouse has done things that hurt me, even though they've done things that I blame them for and that I'm hurt by, the way that I show up is up to me. The way that I grow my skill and how I relate to others is up to me. Okay, so being all in means you're bringing your best self and that you are committed to your own healing, that you are committed to your own growth, your own accountability, that you're able to see how the very patterns that you say that you don't like, you are actually helping contribute to and create. Now that's a big one. You're actually helping create them, this thing that you say you don't like. You don't wait for them to do the work. You lead yourself in doing yours. That is being all in. That is accountability. That is very mature. You're not waiting for them. You are leading yourself in doing your own work. You're looking at where you have held back in owning the things that you want. Maybe you're afraid to speak up. Maybe you're afraid to ask certain questions. Maybe there's things that you avoid and you're owning it and saying, for me to continue in this relationship, these are the things that I need to know. These are the things that I need to understand. So I'm going to grow my capacity to ask those questions and sit with the answers without bailing on myself or bailing on the conversation. Okay? This is not, I'll give more once they X, Y, and Z, and until then I'm going to hold back. Instead, it's I'm showing up aligned with who I say I want to be. There's a huge difference there. I hope you can hear that. I'm showing up aligned with who I say I want to be. All right. Next, this is an important one. I heard somebody say this recently. And I'm like, that's so good. I'm borrowing it. It's you are a lighthouse, not their valet. What does that mean? Being all in is not tethering yourself to someone who's not doing their part. A valet is somebody who carries your bags for you, right? Moves your car, takes care of all your stuff. You are actually not meant to carry their unhealed baggage and call it love. What we can do is we can shine a light on their baggage. Say, hey, I see that you seem to kind of check out sometimes. What's going on for you? Is there something painful that you're avoiding? Is there something painful that I can help you with? Sometimes it means, I don't know if you understand the impact of this unhealed part of you. And I have compassion for you that there's pain in this way. I don't know how quite it got there, what created it, but I am saying that it's really impacting me. It's impacting our family. And I'm asking you to please take responsibility for that. Sometimes that is being the lighthouse. If you imagine what a lighthouse is, a lighthouse shines a light. It shines a light and brings people safely in. Okay, sometimes you can think of a lighthouse and a ship out in the ocean that might see it and might want to meander out further or a different direction and end up slammed on the rocks. That is their choice. That is their choice. But a lighthouse stands tall and grounded and steady. It's not out there chasing. You're not trying to rescue anyone from themselves. What you are doing is saying, hey, this is the impact. This is the impact of this piece that's unhealed. And I'm not really okay with that. It's got a big negative effect on me or on the family. And I'm asking you to do your own work around this. What this means is I will be a light in this relationship, but I'm not going to become your pack mule. I'm not carrying it around. I'm not making excuses for it. I'm not covering for you. Okay. I'm not carrying it. I will shine a light. Now, another analogy here that I think of is, think that you're trying to travel somewhere. Maybe you're climbing a mountain and there's somebody tethered behind you. And you're really trying to get up to that mountain so you can see the sunset before it's dark. And this person is tethered. Okay. And they're slowing you down. They're pulling you back. And instead of being angry at this person or resentful at this person, you're actually cutting it off. You're cutting the tether off. And you're trusting that if they want to get up that mountain enough, that they'll find their own way, or that they'll follow you. They'll follow you, but you're not dragging their butt up that mountain. That requires too much of you. Okay, you can lead, you can be a light, but you're not tethered. You are not tethered. You are not responsible for them coming. You can offer love, you can offer support, but you're not carrying anybody. This piece is really, really important, because if we think that we are tethered to somebody and that the only way they're going to get up there is if we drag them up there, it doesn't solve the actual problems that we need solved, and the relationship is still not quite balanced, because they're not doing their own work to grow their own muscles, to grow their own strength, to climb themselves to the top of the mountain. They're there because you drag their butt there, not because they actually strengthen their skills, their muscles, their ability to climb, right? We have to look at where we are taking way more responsibility for somebody else's climb and decide to cut that tether and trust that if they are meant to stand up on top with you, that they will, and that they are capable and that they can figure it out. You are the lighthouse. You're not the pack mule. You're not the valet. You go climb up that mountain. You can encourage, you can say, I really want you here, but you're not doing it for them. All right. Next, repair does not equal perfection. This is not about never messing up. It's about repairing when you do. We are going to mess up. We will mess up. Sometimes we'll mess up by trying to carry things out of habit and recognize what we've been doing. And we can repair that with ourselves and say, this is the issue. I'm going to apologize to myself. We can name the impact on ourselves, and we can rebuild and decide to let it go and not do the same thing. And we often do that within our relationship. I recognize the impact. I recognize that when I do this thing, it leaves you in this position. We're not taking responsibility for their feelings, but we are recognizing the impact. We are recognizing the impact. Okay? This is a really important piece. We can't control anybody. We can't control how they feel. We can't control what they do, but we can be mindful of the impact and the implications of the things that we do and the things that we say and how it might affect somebody else and what they may have to overcome or heal because of our impact. We need to be aware. It's a big deal. And we expect the same in return. We don't expect perfection, but we do expect participation. So if you are feeling like this piece is only going one way, that's something to pay attention to. And it can be something of setting expectations. This is how I would like these conversations to go. Instead of just brushing it under the rug, or instead of a little simple, sorry, won't do it again. Like real conversations of understanding the impact of going, yeah, I can see how that could be really painful to hear, right? Sometimes it's not our intention to hurt somebody, to say something that is harsher than maybe we thought. It might not be our intention, but we do have to know the impact. If somebody's out driving and they accidentally rear end somebody, it was not their intention. They didn't seek out intending to rear end somebody, but they do have to take accountability for the impact, right? This is something we have to do in relationships as well. Next, shared growth, not stagnation. Being all in means we're not just coexisting, going through the motions, but we are actively co-creating something. It's very intentional. It's very thought out. It's very discussed. This is the kind of relationship I want. This is how I propose that we do this. Or it can sound like, let's brainstorm some rules of engagement that we can both agree to and how we're going to handle difficult conversations. I recently heard from one of my private clients who told me that they set up a protocol of how they engage in difficult conversations. They start with a meditation. They start with lighting a candle to help them both get grounded before they say anything. I think that's so incredible and so respectful of the space, respectful of the container, that they can be fuming mad and commit to that, right? That's pretty impressive. You're building something new together. You are not clinging to what used to be. You are future oriented, not just bonded in pain or bonded in that we've been together for all of these years, so we have to stay together. Okay, that's not going to cut it. This is coming from a future oriented place of love, of integrity, of knowing that you're giving it your best shot. All right, next, you cannot force them to meet you in the work. This means letting go of control and holding on to your integrity. And for most of you, this is going to be the hardest part. The piece that requires the most discipline, the piece that requires the most inner strength, the most when you start to doubt, when you start to worry, when you start to go, but what if he doesn't figure this out? That you go back to what you know and hold on to yourself and go, okay, what can I do today to take my power back here so I'm not giving it all over here, so that I can show up in a way that I can hold my head up high regardless of what they do. It means I can't guarantee the outcome, but I can be proud of how I showed up. I can be damn proud of how I showed up. And if the time comes that you're up at the top of that mountain and you recognize that they're still at the bottom, pulling up weeds, whatever they're doing, looking around, digging in the dirt, whatever they're doing down there, you see that and you know that you've done everything that you can, that you did not abandon them on the journey. They just decided not to join you, that you knew where you're going, that your intentions were with high integrity, with love, with courage, with strength, and they opted out. Sometimes that happens. We don't have to understand all the reasons, my friends. Some of you listening, this has already happened. Can I offer you with so much compassion and conviction that you don't need to understand all the reasons why? We can be sad, okay? We can be sad, but we don't have to understand it. I had to leave my first husband at the bottom of the mountain. It was brutally painful. I so wanted him to come with me. And over these years, I can tell you that as I have released the need to understand, it has brought me so much peace. I don't need to understand. It was his to choose for reasons that made sense to him at the time. For some people, the thought of confronting their own pain feels intolerable. The thought of really confronting themselves feels intolerable, and they'd rather keep doing the things that they're doing to avoid it. And unfortunately, sometimes us climbing to that mountain without them is their own catalyst for their own growth. But for you, it might be too late. Feeling the pain of being left behind, it might be too late. For those of you who were left, that looks like they're climbing this mountain and they're leaving you, please know that this is false. Please know that sometimes people do just decide they don't want to be in their marriages anymore. That happens all the time. But what I'm saying is that if they're leaving to go jump right into another relationship or another multiple relationships with many people, like serial relationships, that's their avoidance. Okay. What's happening is that you are offering them the chance to climb that mountain together. And they are looking at as that's more than I can do, more than I want to do. And even if they're saying that, trying to blame you, whatever it may be, they have to do their own work. And if they're not, I promise you, it's not like they're over on some high mountain, just happy as can be, skipping in the flowers. That's just not true. It's just not true. Please hear me on that. Okay? All right. In closing, what would it look like for you to go all in? Not from fear, not from rescuing, but from clarity and self-leadership. What would that look like for you? What agreements or boundaries need to be clarified? Are you being the version of yourself that you want a partner to meet? Okay, those are some great questions to ask yourself. Being all in on the relationship is not about getting them to choose you, my dears. It is not. It's about being brave enough to choose both you and the kind of relationship you want. That's ultimately what you're choosing. And you're leading from that place whether they rise to meet it or not. Ultimately, if you go in with this kind of conviction, you will have the kind of relationship you want. You will. We just don't know yet if it's with the person you're with or someone else entirely. And so much of your growth is growing your capacity to not know. Okay? All right. I want to add in here that the day this is going to be dropped, there's going to be a virtual retreat a few days later. The virtual retreat is going to be June 17th of 2025, naming that here so that in the future, you know when it is if you miss it. I want you to know that the retreat theme is all in. That's the theme. We're going all in, okay? We're going all in. We're talking about all of this in deep, deep detail. We're looking at where we have to grow so we can pull this thing off. Okay, we can say it all day long. We can say that we know what to do and not know how to do it and not really know how to grow our capacity. This is what we are doing inside this call, this retreat. This is what we're doing there. And then if you want to go even further, this is what we do inside my group program, Get Your Life Back After Infidelity. Okay, it's not really about getting your old life back. It's about creating a life that you are so strong in, one where you feel so good. Remember who you are, where you have grown your capacity, where you have grown in your ability to speak boldly, where you know the things that you want, what you don't want, and you have grown your capacity to stand up for them. That is the work we do inside Get Your Life Back After Infidelity. You go through all the content and you also bring your real things to the live calls and get deep coaching on the issues that you're feeling stuck with. So I help you with it. Okay. Either get to that retreat, or if it's too late for that, get your application in and get inside the group. Okay. All right, my friends. So good to be here with you always. And I want you, first of all, to decide to go all in on yourself, to take a look in the mirror and see what that looks like to you. And next, I want you to decide if you want to go all in. Okay. If you want to go all in on your relationship with the details there of what that looks like. All right, my friends, I'll catch you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast. If you would like to be kept in the know about upcoming free classes, new podcast episodes, and other ways of working with me, go subscribe to my weekly email. You can subscribe at AndreaGiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. Again, it's AndreaGiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. I will see you next time.